Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 5/8/25. As you can hear on the ceiling above me, the pinging of sound of rain.
Full disclosure, I thought he was on a train. Yeah, but at least the rain is falling down. Now, I can make the most mundane flat earthers video interesting.
That's debatable.
But even I'm gonna need more to work with than the weather, Chris. This may be the most unhinged CC video I have ever reacted to, so let's do it.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe.
A couple of things I want to talk to you about, and well, let's discuss gravity.
Gravity, you say? Excellent topic. Now this is where the rubber meets the road. What is CC's take on this fundamental force of nature? There's no way he's going to be able to claim seriously that gravity is BS, surely.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Probably one of the biggest lies of them all, because not a single scientist can tell you anything about it. They know how it works, but they can't explain gravity.
Saying scientists don't know anything about gravity is like saying chefs don't know anything about cooking because they can't explain the quantum mechanics of a perfectly seared steak. We observe its effects with incredible precision. We can measure it, we can predict its behavior, and we use it to keep satellites in orbit and our feet on the ground. Just because the ultimate why is still being explored, it doesn't negate the overwhelming evidence of the what and the how.
Isn't that enough to tell you that something's wrong here? That a scientist with the PhDs up the yin-yang and the education that you'll never have, a person you look up to, a person you trust, a person during an epidemic you listen to.
You know what? It's nuts to me how CC equates scientific expertise with some sort of mystical balance. Now, while I appreciate a good dose of harmony when it comes to understanding complex phenomena like gravity or how viruses spread, I'll take the rigorous training and evidence-based approach of scientists any day, because these are the individuals who have spent years learning and understanding their specific fields, and they've had their work subjected to scrutiny and then built upon the knowledge of those who came before them. I tend not to take the word of random people on the internet because, yeah, that always ends well, doesn't it?
Can't explain the simplest thing in the world that's holding you down, that's holding everything to this made-up ball.
Thinking of gravity as just something holding you down is like saying you don't understand how a fan works because you can't see the air it's moving. You can feel the breeze, you can measure the airflow, and I would hope that even you would understand that the spinning blades are causing it. And similarly, we can't see gravity in the same way we see a physical object, but we see its effects everywhere, from apples falling from trees to planets orbiting stars. It's a fundamental interaction that shapes the entire cosmos, not just some sticky glue for a made-up ball.
Not a single one of them can explain it. Sure, they'll come up with theories, but they can't prove any of them.
CC, the word theory in science isn't just a wild guess like maybe the Earth is held up by giant space turtles. A scientific theory is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world based on a vast body of evidence and repeated testing. Think of it less like a hunch and more like a meticulously constructed jigsaw puzzle where the countless pieces fit perfectly together. And while the ultimate nature of gravity is still a frontier of research, the theory of general relativity, which describes how gravity works, has been proven accurate time and time again through observation and experimentation. It's not just some random idea cooked up over a cup of coffee.
The theories that they've come up with are, you know, the molten lava and all this bullshit, okay? It doesn't matter. Why, if gravity can hold all the water of this fake ball that everybody believes in. Trillions and trillions and trillions, quadrillion. Who knows, okay?
Well, not you, that's for sure, and I'm sure I've just said that out of habit because he hasn't actually said any...
Of water in the oceans. So tightly and so perfectly. You've seen the pictures, right? Sure.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of water not leaving Earth. I mean, I've been to the beach, Chris. But if you're about to say, why isn't that water escaping when a butterfly can flap its wings or a bird can break free of gravity, then please don't. Just don't. Say something else. Anything else. Sing me a song even, like I did for this slot on Friday's video and nobody watched. That video's had less than 4,000 views. You lot really didn't want me to sing, did you?
I know. I know people have logged on and looked at the NASA pictures of the world. It's a perfect ball, all the way down to the centimeter. Although some scientists do say it's the shape of a pear. But, you know, we'll just leave it at that.
So CC has seen the pictures. Brilliant. Next he'll be telling us that the sky is blue and water is wet. Yeah, from space, the Earth looks like a perfect ball. It's a pretty convincing optical illusion caused by, you know, it actually being a globe. And the fact that some eggheads are nitpicking about it being slightly pear-shaped, so what? But whether it's a perfect sphere or a slightly squashed one, it's definitely not a cosmic pancake, is it, dumbass?
The gravity can hold the atmosphere and the water and everything. What about these raindrops that are coming down? You hear them, don't you?
Gravity does hold the atmosphere and the water on Earth. It's the overarching force keeping everything bound. But within that system, you have other forces at play as well. Raindrops fall, CC, because of gravity overcoming air resistance. They are still being pulled towards the center of Earth, just like the atmosphere and the oceans. It's not either or in this situation, it's both. And
why doesn't it just pull all the water out of the sky? Why doesn't it pull the clouds down? I don't know. Because I don't understand what gravity is, and not a single person can tell me what gravity is.
Imagine dropping a feather and a bowling ball. Both are being pulled down by gravity or towards the center of mass, but the feather floats for a bit longer because of air resistance. Clouds are like the feather, lots of surface area but very light overall, so air currents can keep them up there. Raindrops, on the other hand, are like tiny little bowling balls, more compact and heavier, so gravity pulls them down more effectively. It's the same force at play, just with different objects and different levels of resistance.
Let's get back to what I was talking about earlier, and that's the radar.
Hang on a second, now I like to mess around and say I've got a terrible... Why have I changed my glasses? Right, let's try that again, shall we? Now, I know I like to fool around and say that I've got a terrible memory, but even my memory wouldn't forget that. He has literally not mentioned radar. Has he? Or am I going insane myself? Let me know in the comments.
And I still cannot believe that not a single person has spoken about this. All right? I mean, this is 101 fucking nursery school shit.
You know what, CC? You're right. It does sound like something from nursery school. If the nursery school curriculum included advanced physics and atmospheric science, why doesn't gravity just suck all the water off to the sky? Maybe that's what little Timmy would ask. Timmy! And the teacher would then explain about air currents, condensation, and the delicate balance of forces at play. It's simple in concept. Gravity pulls down, other forces push up. But the details are actually quite interesting and well understood by, you know, those pesky scientists with their yin-yang degrees.
Okay? That's all it is at this point. With all the other stuff that we've learned after all these years of studying, of learning, and understanding and trying to explain it to people, but they're so thick-headed they can't understand it.
Oh, the joys of trying to explain things to people. Look, CC, I get it. Sometimes I try to explain sarcasm and it just bounces right off. Maybe the concept of a spherical Earth held together by gravity with raindrops falling through an atmosphere it also holds just requires a little more mental gymnastics than we give it credit for. It's not that people are necessarily thick-headed. Maybe the universe is just inherently a little bit weird and takes some getting used to. But the maths and the observations do tend to point pretty consistently towards the ball idea, or as we call it, reality.
Now, I remember somebody telling me that they thought that all of the satellites are in space. Okay? All right. Okay, all right. Well, we've never been to space. Space doesn't exist, but that doesn't matter. It's all right. So if the satellites are in space, and the fake live feed that NASA is showing you, you can log on to it. Just go feel free. Go onto their website. I encourage you. Okay, go onto their website.
Chris, it's all coming together now. Space isn't real. How could I forget that part? Duh! And as such, those satellites can't be in it. And those live feeds from NASA, clearly just a very elaborate CGI screensaver. This is Occam's razor at its finest, isn't it? Forget decades of rocketry, orbital mechanics, and the countless independent observations from around the globe. It's all just smoke and mirrors. I particularly enjoy the thought of thousands of people across multiple countries diligently faking these satellite signals for what reasons?
And you'll see this fake spinning ball of some sort that is like a cartoon, as far as I'm concerned. But, however, there's one main thing that is also spinning and moving, and that would be the land masses. Correct, right? You agree with me on this, right? I know you do.
Well, CC, you almost got me there. Those land masses do seem to be doing a bit of a twirl, don't they? It's almost as if, and wait for it, they're attached to it. And since that cartoon ball is, in reality, a giant sphere rotating in space, then, yeah, the land masses are along for the ride. What did you expect them to be doing?
Because you can see it. It is an official NASA website that is showing you this. Why would they lie? There's no reason for them to lie.
Well, you raise a valid point, CC. Why would NASA, the supposed purveyor of this grand spherical conspiracy, show us images where the land masses are clearly moving? It almost makes you think, could it be that the land masses are in fact moving because they're on a rotating sphere? No, it couldn't be that. There's got to be some other more convoluted reason why they'd show us this accurate depiction of a rotating Earth.
Listen to yourself, you're f***ing nuts!
So if they're showing the land masses moving, okay, why, when I go onto the radar, the only thing, and remember, they're gathering the information from the satellites that are in space, okay, there you go. You're doing well, I'm proud of you. That are in space, okay? And remember, the picture from NASA is showing the land move in space. Right. Okay. You agree with me on this, right? Then why are they not moving on the radar?
Think of it like looking at a map versus looking at a traffic report. Now, the map clearly shows that your town is located on a moving continent on a spinning planet. Rotating planet. I don't like using the spin word. The traffic report, however, focuses on the immediate movement of cars on the roads within your town. The town isn't suddenly stationary just because the traffic report doesn't highlight the Earth's rotation.
And the only thing that is moving are clouds. So during these storms that are happening right here, right now, you're a sitting duck.
Ah, so that's why your video is called You're a Sitting Duck on a Flat Earth. I get it now. Very clever, Chris.
How could that be?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot there was a question in there as well. How can what be? How can it be that radar doesn't detect the movement of... Maybe it does, I don't know, and I can't be asked to look into it at this point. But radar is used to monitor weather, not the movement of a planet.
Wow, I don't know how to help you with that question. I really can't. I can offer you some suggestions, though.
That's all, folks.
Okie dokie, all you folky. So my old pal Kermit is back at it, still trying to flatten the globe.
You'll understand if I don't come out from the shadows. My identity will be safest if you never see my face.
You'd think after all this time and the relentless debunking, he'd be ready to accept that we live on a sphere. And his groundbreaking evidence, the North Star is stationary. And eclipses, well, they're highly suspect too. But the best part, he's boasting about flat earthers having degrees. In what? Applied tinfoil hat construction? Competitive delusion? This isn't just nonsense. This is nonsense with a side of flat earth desperation.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe.
Hello everyone, my name is Taboo Conspiracy, and I'm
An idiot.
a flat earther.
Well, same thing really.
As I've said before, I believe that flat earth is the key to ending our physical, mental, scientific, educational, financial, and spiritual enslavement.
Well, that's quite a statement, and while it's fine to question established ideas, the idea of a flat earth just doesn't hold up against rigorous scientific scrutiny and observable reality. Could you elaborate on how you see a flat earth specifically unlocking freedom in those areas you mentioned? I'm genuinely interested in trying to understand the connections you're making.
That's the only reason why I'm here, and that's why I'm passionate about the flat earth, and that's why the anti-truthers are trying so hard to shut us down.
It's interesting that you use the term anti-truthers when you talk about people who are not flat earthers. So us globies, you know, the ones who constantly make statements which are supported by thousands of years of scientific knowledge. But in reality, the term anti-truthers perfectly describes people like you. People who claim to believe that the earth is flat.
My topic for this presentation is, what does it mean to be a flat earther?
Well, as I said a few minutes ago, it means you're an idiot or a liar. And I'm sure you all think you've woken up to the lies, but from our side of the argument, it's more like you overslept and missed centuries of scientific progress and basic horizon observations.
No way.
We know that the media would proclaim that flat earthers are just stupid or uneducated, holding on to unproven, antiquated beliefs.
That's funny, because understanding the basic principles of gravity, something a spherical Earth very neatly explains, isn't exactly rocket science. Oh wait, it is rocket science, and it works perfectly. And as for unproven, antiquated beliefs, that's pretty accurate, because the idea of a spherical Earth was proven by the ancient Greeks through observation and maths long before the 24/7 news cycle existed. Maybe the real antiquated belief is ignoring centuries of evidence because you say it looks flat to you. What does that even mean?
Well, I have a bachelor's, a Juris Doctorate, and a master's, and many other flat earthers also have advanced degrees. We have PhDs, engineers, pilots, military professionals, lawyers, surveyors, and teachers.
Well, if that's true, which I suspect it isn't, it's certainly noteworthy. However, it's crucial to understand that the scientific consensus isn't determined by majority vote or the credentials of individuals, but by the weight of empirical evidence. And you say you've got a bachelor's, a doctorate, and a master's? In what? I don't think you've ever clarified that, have you?
Okay, so maybe we have the same formal education, but maybe we flat earthers are just ignorant of the heliocentric model. Surprisingly, nearly every flat earther knows more about the heliocentric model than your typical ball earther.
Okay, so let's assume that what you said is 100% accurate. All that does is expose those people as liars.
We're going to have a little quiz here. Let's see how good you flat earthers are at restating heliocentric dogma without looking up the answers.
Right, the I know more about your beliefs than you do bit. Bold move, Cotton. And while I appreciate the pop quiz, understanding the generally accepted scientific model isn't the same as demonstrating the validity of an alternative one, is it, you silly goose?
Question 1. How fast does the ground of the Earth allegedly rotate at the equator? Approximately 1,000 miles per hour.
I don't think that's how a quiz is supposed to work, pal. You're not meant to give the answer straight away. But I let it slide because, to be fair to you, you are used to addressing flat earthers who definitely need that sort of help. But you're correct, the maths works out. Given the Earth's circumference at the equator is roughly 24,901 miles, and the fact that Earth completes one rotation in 24 hours, that comes out to approximately 1,037 miles per hour.
Question 2. How fast is the alleged Earth's orbit around the Sun? 66,600 miles per hour.
Oh, almost another bullseye. Based on Earth's elliptical orbit with a semi-major axis of roughly 93 million miles and a year being approximately 365.25 days, the average orbital speed clocks in at about 67,000 miles per hour. But of course, you're a flat earther, so you definitely want to cram the old 66 in there somewhere. But I've got to ask, how is stating scientific facts, which all prove that you're wrong, helping you to prove that the Earth is flat? I don't get it.
Question 3. How far away is the Sun purportedly from the Earth? 93 million miles.
Bingo! The average distance between the Earth and the Sun, which is known as 1 astronomical unit, is approximately 93 million miles. And we didn't guess either. It's a distance we've calculated through various methods, including parallax and radar measurements. Now, if the Sun were just a few thousand miles above a flat Earth, as your theory suggests, how do you explain the consistent angle of sunlight and the length of shadows across vast distances? Not to mention the fact that different parts of the flat Earth would experience perpetual daylight or darkness depending on the sun's position.
Question 4. How are seasons caused according to the heliocentric model? Because the Earth is tilted.
Well, you're mostly correct. The Earth's axial tilt, currently about 23.5 degrees relative to its orbital plane, is the primary driver of our seasons. As the Earth orbits the Sun, this tilt causes different hemispheres to receive more direct sunlight at different times of the year. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the Sun, it experiences summer, while the southern hemisphere, tilted away, experiences winter, and vice versa.
Question 5. How many degrees is the alleged axial tilt of the Earth? 23.4 degrees or 66.6 degrees, depending on how you want to view it.
As of today, May the 14th, 2025, Earth's mean axial tilt is approximately 23.43598 degrees, or 23 degrees 26 minutes and 09.5 seconds. But you're a flat earther, so obviously you're going to take the easy route and say 23.4 degrees so that you can get that lovely 66.6 again. Why are flat earthers so obsessed with numbers? In particular, any variation of all the sixes. It doesn't mean anything.
Question 6. How far away is the moon, allegedly? From surface to surface, it would be 234,000 miles.
Close. The average distance from Earth to the Moon is about 238,900 miles. It varies slightly because the Moon's orbit is elliptical. We've measured the distance accurately using laser ranging and other methods. Not to mention the fact that we've been there. But consider this. If the Moon were significantly closer and smaller, as some flat Earth models propose, how do you explain the consistent tidal bulges on opposite sides of the Earth simultaneously? That means at the same time. Gravity from a distant and massive moon pulling on different parts of our spherical planet explains tides beautifully. What explains them on a flat Earth? Oh yeah, that's right. Nothing.
Question 7. What is the radius of the alleged ball Earth and what is its circumference? Radius equals 3,959 miles. Circumference 25,000 miles.
Those are generally the accepted figures for the Earth's average radius and approximate circumference at the equator. You're really good at reciting ball Earth facts. It's almost like they're readily available and well established through, well, you know, actual science and measurement.
Yes, science!
Now then, if the Earth were flat, what would be its radius and circumference? Aha, I bet you're already heading down to the comment section to correct me, aren't you? Well, shame on you. It was a trick question. Flat things don't really have a consistent radius in the same way a sphere does. And the edge, well, that seems to be moving further away every time somebody tries to find it.
Question 8. What formula can you use to determine the rate at which the alleged ball Earth drops away from you? 8 inches per mile squared.
Well, it'll give you a rough idea under specific conditions and for short distances, but the actual curvature of a sphere doesn't follow such a simple linear progression over longer distances. The real formula involves a bit more trigonometry and the Earth's actual radius. Think of it like this. A straight line, your line of sight, moving away from a curve, will show a drop. But that drop increases exponentially, not just linearly, with the square of the distance. So while 8 inches per mile squared sounds catchy, it's a simplification that conveniently ignores the increasing curvature over longer distances.
Try to find any globe-loving audience anywhere that can answer those questions better.
I answered them perfectly. I hope.
We flat earthers are certainly not ignorant of the heliocentric model. In fact, when you really think about the flying, vortexing heliocentric model, you begin to realize how stupid it really is.
The irony! It's too much!
I completely agree with you, Jacksepticeye. Then why do flat earthers claim that the Earth is flat? The fact that you know so much about the real model, well, it's not a model. The fact that you know so much about reality tells me that you're just a liar, or you're lying to yourself or your audience for, I don't know, reasons.
Since they try to obscure their actual beliefs, let me tell you what a ball earther believes.
Allow me. I'll tell you exactly what a ball earther believes. Absolutely nothing when it comes to the shape of the Earth. We don't need to believe that the Earth is a globe. We know that the Earth is a globe because we have thousands of years of science to back it up.
They believe all of the planets, moons, asteroids, meteors, and satellites of our solar system are chasing after the sun that is flying around our galaxy at a speed of 514,000 miles per hour. I don't care how many degrees you have. This is stupid.
But you actually brought up the fact that you've got a bachelor's, a PhD, and whatever the hell else you said at the beginning of your video. So if it's that unimportant, why bring it up?
Ball earthers believe that a comet, like Halley's Comet, can get yanked back every 75 years and catch right back up with a zooming solar system right on schedule. That's stupid.
So the rest of your video is just going to be you reading out established scientific fact and then adding the words, "that's stupid" at the end of it. No thanks. So, I am terrible at telling you that there's a Creaky Blinder merch store. I literally can't even remember the last time I mentioned it. But the reason I mention it today is because somebody said in the comments on, I think it was on maybe Monday's video, that they wished that the evil NASA logo was on an item of my merch. So I obliged. It's been on the screen this whole time, and it's now available at creakyblinder.com, and I'll link it for you in the doodah below and the doohickey above.
There it is. Look at that. Blows my mind every time.
Ever seen someone miss a joke so spectacularly that they build a whole theory around it? Feed Your Mind thinks that comedian JP Sears is the new flat earth messiah. Yeah, you heard that right. They've watched a comedian doing comedy mocking flat earthers and have triumphantly declared him as a serious convert spreading the flat earth message.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
Okay, let me show you.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe. But first, I need to show you something else because today's video is sponsored by Broom. Yes, don't worry, I didn't know what it was at first either. Tired of feeling bloated, backed up, sluggish? Allow me to introduce you to Broom, your new go-to fibre supplement for better gut health, reduced bloating, and effortless weight management, all in one fruity scoop. Made with psyllium husk, Broom supports digestion, helps regulate your bowel movements, and keeps your gut feeling like you just got back from a spa weekend. Over 83% of users reported a lighter feeling after just a few weeks. 2 out of 3 saw weight loss. You know what that's called? Results. Sweet, regularity-based result. Just 1 scoop mixed with water, once or twice a day, and that's it. Delicious, convenient, and genuinely effective. But don't just take it from me. We've got Gary on the line from Llanfair Pwllgwyn, Gogere, Chwynrobl, Llanfasilio, go. Hi Gary, you're live on the air. Go ahead.
I used to hate going for long walks because I was afraid of being too far from a toilet. But since using Broom, I can walk tall, proud, and whistle with my mouth closed.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds positive. So I'm happy for you. So click the link and use my code CreakyBlinder to get up to 65% off Broom today. That's right, up to 65% off the pink scoop that changed Gary's life. And possibly yours. Right, back to Other Creaky. Are you there, Other Creaky?
The Earth isn't round anymore because it never was, because it's flat. Let me enlighten you about the flat Earth theory.
Jonathan Patrick Sears is an American YouTube comedian and he produces satirical videos where he parodies things like lifestyle gurus and wellness coaches and now flat earthers. But poor old Feed Your Mind hasn't noticed that JP's whole shtick is making... Forget it, I'm not explaining something that should be obvious to a 2-year-old.
It's a joke.
But for clarity, he's pretending. He isn't actually a flat earther.
You can see here what the flat Earth really looks like. The North Pole is actually in the center of the flat disk Earth. And Antarctica is a 200-foot tall wall of ice that surrounds the entire perimeter of the flat Earth. It's not some landmass at the bottom of an imaginary globe. There is so much deception and misunderstanding that hides this truth from people.
Before anyone starts recalibrating their globes into dinner plates, here's the kicker. The man is a comedian. This is satire. He's mocking the flat earth, not endorsing it.
How stupid are you people anyway?
Pretty stupid.
Feed Your Mind is so popular YouTuber, comedian JP, who has a couple of YouTube channels, and he tackles serious subjects using comedy. And I think one of his channels is called Awaken with JP. I don't really know the name of his other channel, but I came across one of his older videos. And so in this older video, it looks like JP is actually a flat earther.
He's so close to understanding JP's whole deal, the comedy, the serious subjects, then he just swerves spectacularly at the last second and declares him a fellow flat earther. The irony is practically a physical presence.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
And this is precisely the kind of social stupidity that I love responding to. What a perfect example of somebody seeing what they want to see or believing what they want to believe. Even when the evidence, like, you know, JP being a satirical comedian, points squarely in the opposite direction.
Now, like I said, he uses comedy in a lot of his videos to get serious subjects out there. So it's possible that he was trolling, but I think this guy really is a flat earther because of the things he was saying about flat earth.
So the internal monologue from Feed Your Mind probably goes something like this. Right, so he uses comedy to discuss topic. And you're right about that, he does. It's possible he was trolling though. Warmer? So close to it being satire. But I think this guy is a flat earther because of the things he was saying about flat earth. And he trips at the finish line. He's making fun of you.
You know, you can't really take this guy too serious, but, you know, usually when he is making comedy sketches, he's definitely trying to get a point across.
I agree. When a comedian parodies something, the point they're trying to get across is usually to highlight the absurdity, hypocrisy, or foolishness of the subject being parodied. The point of JP's video and him acting like a flat earther isn't to subtly signal his belief in a pancake planet, it's to showcase just how completely ridiculous the flat earth arguments sound when you say them in a comedic context. In any context, flat earth arguments are all really stupid.
So, when he's talking about flat earth, he's going into a lot of the topics of flat earth that really shows me that he is aware of the subject and he looked deeply into it.
You know what? On that specific point, you're absolutely 100% correct. He's clearly looked into the flat earth. He's aware of the subject. He does know the talking point. But here's where your logic takes a spectacular leap off the edge. You've assumed that this deep understanding, this awareness, must equate to genuine belief. Now, to create an effective parody, to truly satirize a belief system, you have to understand it intimately. You need to know its catechisms, its shibboleths, its sacred texts, or in the case of Flat Earth, YouTube videos. JP does his homework, and that's what makes his parody so sharp and ironically so convincing to those who want to believe. He's reflecting the Flat Earth arguments back, and because it's an accurate reflection, you think he's one of you.
I would guess that he is a flat earther.
Well, you'd guess wrong then, wouldn't you? Because he isn't. He made one video 8 years ago making fun of flat earthers. Now, if you look at somebody like me, I know the flat earth talking points inside out, back to front, and upside down. But I'm not stupid enough to believe the earth is flat.
He was talking about the emergency plane landings where DITRH is usually the main one talking about these emergency plane stops, but a lot of others talk about this too.
Well, you should have said earlier. I mean, if Dave Weiss says it, it must be true.
So, why are they lying about the globe?
So because JP brings up these emergency landing scenarios, it's another tick in the JP is one of us box. Why though?
And they're saying how that proves a flat earth based on where these planes are landing. It really would make no sense on a globe earth, but when these emergency landings take place and you map it on a flat earth AE map, it definitely looks like the earth is flat based on where these planes are landing.
Yeah, but he's not saying emergency landings prove the flat earth, is he? He's including the supposed mechanism and the type of map you use to make his claim. It's a detail that makes the parody richer, and to somebody already primed to believe, somebody like you, it makes JP seem like he's one of you because he gets the nuances of your arguments. Look, it's not our fault that you've been stupid enough to fall for a parody of a flat earther.
Then JP goes on to talk about the earth spinning and making jokes about that and basically saying that the earth is not spinning. Then he talks about how gravity isn't what we are told. Really, gravity is just, you know, you drop something, it's heavier than air. It's not really much to really think too much about. I think a lot of people overthink the whole gravity thing.
It's not that people overthink gravity, it's just that people barely think about it at all. The only reason flat earthers constantly bring up gravity is because they can't explain it on a flat earth.
You know, it's like, hey, if something's heavier than air, it's definitely falling. That's that. Buoyancy, weight, things like that.
Well, yeah, that's because gravity tends to pull things towards Earth's center of mass. Definitely falling. So aeroplanes, birds, helicopters, they all just falling with style.
That wasn't flying. That was falling with style.
JP talks about Neil deGrasse Tyson, kind of trolling him, talking about he's not really, you know, that bright, I guess. So he also goes into Antarctica, and that's pretty much a common thing. Most people that have researched anything about flat earth, usually they know a little bit about Antarctica, you would think, you know.
Taking shots at Neil deGrasse Tyson's intellect was a joke. It's all part of pretending pretending to be a flat earther. So him trolling a world-renowned astrophysicist by questioning his intelligence is the peak of comedic irony. And we know a little bit about Antarctica. Oh, right. We know it's a massive ice-covered continent at the bottom of a sphere. We know scientists from all over the world conduct research there. We know there are international treaties governing it. And we know that a few short months ago, some flat earthers and some normal people went down there and completely destroyed the flat earth.
If someone is telling you that it doesn't matter if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, they are lying to you.
And how did it do that, I hear you ask?
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
That's kind of one of the main subjects of flat Earth is Antarctica, so.
Flat earthers are still talking about Antarctica? Well, I never. It's almost as if they're running around reeking of desperation while frantically trying to prove that a 24-hour sun would work on a flat Earth. And so far, nothing.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
JP also goes into how there's no measurable curvature.
You know, it's almost as if JP has gone onto YouTube and searched for flat Earth, clicked on the most popular videos from the likes of Eric Dubay, Mark Sargent, you know the ones, and then parroted the points that those people said in their videos. How do you think this is helping you, and what the hell is making you think that this guy is being serious?
So a lot of the globe earthers, they get confused by the horizon. They get confused by what looks like the apparent horizon versus the actual physical horizon.
Are you taking a piss?
The horizon looks curved because, and wait for it, the Earth is a sphere. As the Earth curves away from you, your line of sight eventually meets the point where the surface drops out of view. That line, the edge of what you can see, that's the horizon. And on a sphere, it's naturally curved. Now, the apparent horizon they talk about is just the line where the land or sea meets the sky from your viewpoint. The confusion arises when they can't seem to grasp that a locally level line of sight on a globally curved surface will appear straight to a limited observer, but is, in fact, still a segment of a much larger curve. He's not going to have understood any of that, is he?
You know, the way the horizon works, it kind of looks sometimes like, oh, well, that's the globe right there. We can see how the Earth is curving from the beach. But really, when you look more into it, it's definitely much more sophisticated than what it appears, especially when you get the powerful zoom lens cameras. You can really start to see how people can be fooled by thinking that you can see curvature from a lake and stuff like that.
Don't even know how jokes work, pal. And saying and stuff like that at the end of every sentence makes you sound like a moron. Don't add to that. Try and subtract. Now, a zoom lens brings distant objects closer, but it doesn't magically alter the fundamental geometry of the planet. If a ship has sailed over the curve of the Earth and is hull down below the horizon, zooming in might bring the top of the ship back into view again, but it won't suddenly bring the entire hull back into view. And if it does, it just means that the ship hasn't gone all the way over the
So JP also goes into the sun and the moon being the same size, and that's a pretty good one too, because yeah, it's like with the eclipse and stuff like that, people are saying basically the sun and the moon appear to be the same size on a flat Earth model.
The sun and the moon are the same size for eclipses on a flat Earth? Is that what he said? Yeah, right. Just ignore the whole distance and perspective thing. It's all a cosmic coincidence or basic astronomy on a globe. You choose.
And JP talks about circumnavigation, which is another one that a lot of the globe earther people, they kind of get fooled very easy with the circumnavigation. They can't figure out that their globe model is the same thing. It's a circle.
Hang on a second now. Did he just say that we think that the globe model or reality is a circle? We live on a circle. Now, it's a very long time since I left school, but I'm pretty sure I remember being taught that a sphere and a circle are not the same thing. One is three-dimensional, one is two-dimensional. It's not important. Well, it's clearly not important to him.
You're going in a big circle there, thinking that you just go straight and you end up right back where you started on a globe. But no, you go relative to the north.
Yeah, on a globe, travelling in one general direction will eventually bring you back to your starting point. It's called going around a sphere. But our flat earth friend here thinks it's some kind of gotcha, claiming you go relative to the north. So does the north magically stay in one spot on your infinite plane? And how does that explain consistently circling the South Pole?
A freebasing, inquiring minds want to know.
And minds with actual geographical knowledge.
You know, you could tell like the difference between a Mr. Beast flat earth video, who is he started off kind of like a comedian as well. And he did a flat earth video a long time ago and it was horrible.
Well, I saw that video and I thought it was very funny. It was the same as JP's video. He was making fun of you.
You could tell he didn't look into anything about flat earth. It was so goofy and he thought he was funny, I guess, but the joke was really on him, on Mr. Beast, because his flat earth video is one of the most cringiest videos I've ever seen. I mean,
sort of a moron forgets to unmute his mic. But as I was just saying, and he made a shitload of money while doing it. Now that video, this one here, has got 28 million views. We'll be conservative and say Mr. Beast has an RPM of $10, which means that he made $280,000 by making fun of flat earthers. Love you. Bye. So my next door neighbour dropped by last night and said that he'd heard that me and the family had had an amazing time seeing the Ebras at the Ooh. And after he left, my wife said, "Who the hell was that?" I said, "Oh, just our nosy neighbour."
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, ever, ever.